There you go.
All right, welcome everybody. It's 5:30, going to call the meeting to order. There appears to be no public comment. Any public comment?
Got anything to say back there?
I'm sure they have plenty. Welcome to the mic. Okay, no public comment. We're going to call the roll. Barron? Here. Malone Marshall?
Present.
Cobbs? Absent. Lewis?
Here.
Noble?
Here.
Tolly?
Here.
I myself, present. I sent the minutes out electronically last night about 11, and there's a paper copy in front of you. If you've had opportunity, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Lewis? Holly? Second. Okay. Malone Marshall?
Aye.
Tolly?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Noble?
Aye.
Lewis?
Aye.
I myself's an aye. Approve the minutes. And under old business, we continue to have the enforcement of drinking on public property update. I'll just defer to Alderman Barron. I don't really have much to offer. Yourself?
I think it's up over the last month,
It is up, okay.
at least my personal encounters.
Up in what regard? The last conversations were about people hanging out by the dumpster at Majestic and people staying in buildings.
Yeah,
That was addressed.
I don't know if it's addressed, but that's not where I've seen it.
Okay.
It's further south than that.
Okay.
What, like down by Dearborn?
Yeah, and a little bit right outside the executive center too. On
Oh, really?
occasions, yeah, in the library. Yeah.
Is it just people hanging out or people with open containers?
I mean, it's difficult to say for certain, but it looks like they're drinking something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, not on all occasions, obviously.
I can't hear you.
Not on all occasions, but
Right.
on a number of occasions, so.
I mean, I have noticed, when it's warmer, the same hangout, south of the liquor store. And I personally witnessed the open containers, but I have observed that the police have, been running by the funeral home, so, they're not, drinking on the steps over there, at least like they were, so. But we'll continue to leave that on unless anybody else has anything else. Okay, moving forward, old business, the last meeting, we had a discussion on a temporary lease option on city-owned property for hydroponic agricultural and retail shops. I think it was a interesting meeting. I think most of the committee that was there was open to at least looking at the option, and I believe it was supposed to go to economic development, and I believe they're going to probably maybe bring it to next month.
Thursday.
Oh, Thursday, this Thursday, okay. So I do know that the city planning board, they had discussions on it, and, that was something you might want to go ahead and, look at, but they were open to the idea. But I think, Deb Terrell, she does her due diligence, and I think she was on the same page as I was. The growing containers would be different than, the retail containers. So I do think that we could probably get something moving in that direction. But anybody have any more discussion? Because really that's all we have on the agenda here. Any thoughts, any questions, on the containers?
I'd like to hear what, comes out of ECDA.
Right.
I'm certainly not opposed to it. I just want to make sure if we do it, we're going to do it right.
Right. And obviously, with it being a lease agreement, there's it's not going to be any greater than, I would say, a year for the first
Right.
pilot program, so.
Right.
And just like anything else, obviously, they got to agree to whatever the lease agreement says, so I think you'd have options, but in regard to the hydroponics, I just think we're overcomplicating that particular end of it. When you get into the retail shops and you're actually, you're vending out of them, and that's a different story, but I personally would like to see, and I have no horse in the race with that, but I'd personally like to see us move forward on, helping her get established. She's a resident, and it's a new concept, and we got lots that are not creating any revenue.
Not to mention, she wants to be in the city of
Correct.
Kankakee.
Correct. So I guess we'll see what comes out of economic development and, maybe relay that, in planning, Deb Terrell, she even mentioned, she can see that there's two different things there with the retail versus the hydroponics, so.
So would the thought be because I think there would still need to be some changes to the code.
Correct.
In order to allow for the hydroponic use. Would the thought be kind of go do that first and then do the broader discussion separately, sort of over a longer period of time?
I think that's why, didn't I mention we should have Tamora, it should be a code or something so that Tamora can give her input about it, doing to the code has to be changed?
Well, I just meant the general code, the municipal code, like our sets of ordinances. So I think that that still would need to be changed for even
Right.
hydroponics to be allowed, as opposed, not doing the full overhaul that provides for, the more sweeping changes that we were looking at.
Right.
But that's what you're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. That would be sort of the.
Right.
Makes sense.
So right now, there's nothing that allows it, so, but obviously that would just basically be a line item change in there, so.
We were talking about a lot of like conditional uses, like conditional use permits and putting conditions on some of the broader applications, but like you said, because it's a lease, we'd have the ability to put those conditions through a lease that doesn't necessarily need to go through planning.
Right.
And so forth, so.
Right, because each one would come through, for approval, just like anything else for city council. So it's not like, all of a sudden you're going to go to your ward and see like, oh, why are there 6 containers, on these lots? So I think there's things in place that, it'd be an interesting pilot program.
Because it's only on city-owned property, right?
Currently only on city-owned property for, just to test and see if we're not getting into shark-infested waters. But if you really look at, like what the lady was talking about, it's a container that she's the only one that's going to be going in it. She's not going to have people coming and going. It's not open to the public. There's a lot of lots that would, that would fit that bill, and it wouldn't hurt aesthetics. So, any other thoughts on that, or, questions maybe to relay to economic development that if it's coming up Thursday?
And these are containers, big, like truck containers?
Shipping containers like you'd see on, they cargo containers.
Being added to the community?
Very cautiously, but yeah, they're the boxes that ride on the back end of a semi-trailer, but when you get to wherever, that comes off. And
That being used as kind of the structure of whatever would be done. There were some, Melissa King brought some pretty interesting pictures of how they've been used for different spots as a way to put together a building pretty inexpensively and quickly, but keeping up a standard.
Right.
Where it doesn't look like just a bunch of old trailers.
Right.
Right.
In a lot.
If you go online and look up shipping container uses, and you'll find some pretty amazing things. Basically, it's a box. You can build a box out of 2x4s, you can build a box out of steel. This is the main main box. Some people, they'll side them, they'll put wood siding on, they'll cut windows in. Some of them, when they're done, they make houses on them, but, I don't think that's the direction we're going, but.
Not here.
I guess I'm asking because I really wasn't here previously for that discussion. And I'm thinking in terms of a container in my neighborhood.
On the live stream of that meeting, the lady that actually has used one before and that wants to move one here, she was really, she had a lot of information in that
Right.
meeting. So if you want to watch that meeting,
Yes.
you'll be more informed on it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Let me get that information a little bit later.
Okay.
And keeping in mind, it would be on city-owned lots that are vacant right now. It's not like, let's say you had a lot next door to your house, it's most likely not going to go, in the residential neighborhoods, I believe.
Right.
So
Okay.
it'd be more geared towards, I don't know, commercial, if a building was torn down and a city owns a lot.
Yep, it's the February 25th, the minutes that you have right here.
Okay.
That's the meeting that you want to watch.
Yeah, I was sick then, no.
Yeah, you can go watch it live and, but if you,
live stream.
like I say, if you get online and just Google, uses for shipping containers or containers that have been turned into retail, development, it'll open your eyes. I mean, it's pretty interesting. But
Did Melissa send out her presentation?
I didn't personally see it, but that'd be a good one to have her, for information for Alderwoman Noble.
Look again.
That had a bunch of pictures that kind of showed the possibilities of what it could look like.
Yeah, even some of them had the outside decorated and everything, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think, what was it, they even had a Taco Bell made, right?
Right, right.
So, but yeah, like, this lady, she's just gonna grow, use it for growing purposes, and I believe one container, I believe if my memory serves me correctly, it's like having 2 acres of
Right.
farm ground.
Right.
That, it can produce, which is pretty impressive in a small box like that, but,
And most of those products would be useful and sellable to local food joints.
outside of that, I guess we wait for economic development and see what comes out of that, and, because I think wasn't Barbie involved with some discussion on this originally?
Yes.
So let's just, and we're going to leave it on, for updates, and obviously Melissa will, come back here, but outside of that, if there's no more questions on that, we don't have any new business, no need for executive session. And Alderman, questions and concerns? Going once, twice? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Alderman Marshall, second by Noble. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 5:43. Thank you.